Okay, so in this video we're going to learn a very popular algorithm called the selection sort algorithm. So we're going to look at our first sorting algorithm. This is one of the easiest ones to understand, but unfortunately it's a slow sorting algorithm when you have a really large array. But the algorithm goes like this. You basically kind of put a placeholder here or a variable, and you basically look for the smallest element in the array. So we're going to call the findMin method starting at 0, and we're going to find the smallest element in the array, and here it is at 9. Okay, so when you find that, actually findMin, if you remember, it doesn't give us the 9, but it gives us the index 3. Okay, so now what I want to do is swap those two values. Swap the 25 with the 9, or swap the value at index 0 with the value at index 3. So we're going to make a call to the swap method. So the 25 and the 9 will be swapped. Okay, and then we make that placeholder go up by 1, and now we go to the next spot. And now we find the min starting here, starting at 1 and going to the end of the array, looking for the minimum value. And it turns out we find it right here. So then we're going to swap that 12 with the 17. Okay, so we're going to swap 17 and 12. Okay, and then this little placeholder moves up by 1. Okay, and now we're going to find the min starting at index 2 and going to the end of the array. And it looks like the smallest value is going to be at index 6, 17. So we're going to swap 17 with 32. Okay, and so hopefully you get the idea here, 17 and 32. So then the placeholder goes up again, and we just keep going. And then at the end, when the placeholder gets to the very end, actually, let's just keep going here. So 25 is actually going to stay put because it's the smallest value starting at index 3, going to the end of the array. And then 26 is going to stay put as well because that's the minimum value. And then when we get to 5, the minimum value starting at index 5 is going to be here at 29. So we're going to swap 29 and 47. Okay, and then we're going to do this one more time. So our little pointer, our little counter goes up to 6, and now it turns out that this is already the minimum element, so we don't have to do any swaps. And then you can stop. You don't have to make this pointer go all the way up to 7 because that will already be in its proper spot. So you don't have to go right to the end of the array. You can go one less than that. So I'd like you to try and write the selection sort method. Put it into your array methods class. This is going to be a void method. It's going to be a procedure method. Nothing is going to be returned. There are some people who make sorting methods that return a copy of the array. It returns the sorted array, but we're not going to do that here. I want to be able to say array methods. This is what I want to do. From a main class, I want to be able to say array methods dot selection sort and then nums. And so over in my, let's say this is my array methods class. Okay, if this is array methods, I should have a method here, public static void selection sort, and this has an int array reference as the input parameter. Okay, and then I want you to try and do the code. But over in my main class, remember that when I call a method and I put an array reference in as the parameter, a copy of that reference is made. So a copy called ARR is going to be made, and this is going to point to the same thing as nums. So whatever I change here to ARR, so whatever swaps I make to ARR, that's actually going to make a change to my nums array. So we don't need this method to return anything. It doesn't need to return a brand new array unless you wanted your original array to be intact. So if you wanted to keep the randomness and then have a separate array that is the sorted version, then you could make this return an int array reference. Okay, we'll do something like this a little bit later, but for now let's just make this a void method, and this won't return anything. It'll just make a series of swaps. Just as a little hint, in your code you're going to need a loop. Okay, and as a hint, let's make I start at 0. So I will be this little placeholder, this little counter. I is going to go from 0, and it's going to go all the way up to the second last value. All right. So that's my hint. And then inside that loop, you're going to call the findMin method and the swap method. And so then I want you to test it out. Make a random array or use one that you've already created in the past, and then call your selectionSort method, and then print the array again and see if it worked. Okay, good luck.